Hello there, you're watching and listening to another Scoutcast on www.fantasyfootballscout.co.uk, and my name is Mark.
My name's Jonty.
My name's Andy.
And Luke, or Disable.
Good evening, gentlemen. It's happened again. We look forward to these midweek floodlit game weeks. We look forward to having that kind of break up of the week and lots of matches to discuss. And then it's as flat as a pancake yet again. I think this is worse than the last midweek game week, wasn't it, Jonty?
Yeah, it was. I think. I mean, when I said everything, I think after yesterday's games, the average was something like 14, which is pretty poor.
Yep.
And a lot of people were let down by Vardy captaincy. So everyone was really excited about tonight. Saul Aguero,
yeah.
And Archevich, for those with a bit of bit of flair about them. Nothing from any of them. Absolutely nothing. I'm probably quite similar to lots of people. And I've got below 40 points, so just 39 points, which could end up being a really good score. But we'll probably find out the average during the Scoutcast. But yeah, it's a woeful week.
The whistle has just blown, and like the last time we did a midweek Scoutcast, we said, it won't take long to tot up our points because it was so disappointing. I think we ended up with below 40 in that one, and we've all got the same again. Welcome to the Scoutcast. Basically, it's for kind of struggling fantasy managers, middle to average, middle of the table fantasy managers, talking about fantasy football for about an hour. We're going to talk about our game week just gone, the one that the whistle has just blown on, and we're going to talk about the game week before as well, which was slightly better for some, certainly for Jonty. He beat me again. I'm going to be teasing Jonty a bit about Dele Alli and Siggy not turning up, but then Siggy came on and he did as well as anybody, got a point, which is pretty good for tonight. I'm going to tease Andy about his Sanchez to Ozil crab-like move. Andy, I haven't mentioned that yet, but yeah, you're going to have to talk about that. That was Ray Wilkins of the highest order, and I'm trying and avoid talking about Arnautovic, although Jonty's already mentioned him, because last week I sat here and said Arnautovic is my transfer. That's going to be the Maverick move. That's the fifth mid is where the points are. That's where the differential is. I talked him up, didn't get him, 15 points. I played safe. Idiot, absolute idiot. I'm going to try not to talk about that too much, but I'm sure Jonty's going to dwell on it when he can. Luke, welcome back to the Scoutcast. You were absent last week. I bet you wish you didn't turn up this week after that game week.
Yeah, or for the last 6 weeks, given the way my season's beat your announced, to be fair.
Yeah, fair enough. Pretty depressing all round. We're going to try and cheer up. Let's cheer up. Come on, there's still 10 weeks, 12, 11 weeks to go. Plenty of time to score points, and we've got plenty to discuss. Lots of community questions tonight, Jonty.
Yeah, we've got all sorts. Southampton defence, Man City midfielders. We're all set to rack up, have a look at their amazing stats tonight. We've got some stats for you, but they're not amazing. And plenty more. Looking ahead to the final few games of the season, really, the run-in, really, the all-important bit.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Southampton's defence that seems to be struggling a lot on Man City. We're going to talk about Aguero. Is a triple C set up? Is it time to say goodbye to Payet? Not tonight, not when he's one of the top scorers. We've got a question on that. People are questioning my move for Kazri. I can't believe it. I just cannot believe people are questioning that. Yeah, I questioned it as well. And we're going to look at maybe is it time to look to motivation? Is it time to avoid the mid-table teams and look at the top and the bottom only? Banking on, well, after tonight's results, there's probably an argument against that. It's so unpredictable, but we're going to try and spot some patterns. We're going to try and talk some trends. Let's see what we can do. Jonty, let's talk about our game weeks just gone. Game week 28 and game week 27, I guess. This one, we don't want to dwell on it. You got 39 points, didn't you?
Yeah, got 39 points. Captain Dirtzel didn't do anything. I did say on the site, and I didn't listen to my advice, that Swansea have a very, very good record in recent years away to Arsenal, and so it proved. Sometimes you think of these things a bit like a kind of, is it magic? Is it kind of coincidence? A big topic this week has been the Dembele-less curse. How can Kane ever score? And you shake your head, and the people go, it's just coincidence. Jonty, this magic you're talking about, it's made up. It's just voodoo stuff. It's not. It's real. Every time he's absent, Kane fails to score, and it's happened again. And it's going to keep happening until he comes back. And then when he comes back, put the armband on Kane. But yeah, I'd hope for something perhaps from Eriksen or Ali. Eriksen's a little bit immune to the Dembele-less curse. But the best thing about my 2 game weeks wasn't this week at all. It was the previous game week, my best week of the season. Got an game week average of 31,000, and I'm not only in the top 100,000 now. It's my dream from a few weeks ago to be in the top 100,000.
You've crept in, haven't you? You've crept in there. And I've got to say,
72th game.
Yeah, your star performers have been at the back, really. Van Dijk, previously, and then now Charlie Daniels takes over from him. You've got some really good value out of those two, and that's been the difference. And then Ivanovic popped up with a goal at Chelsea. I was at that game. That was very painful when Ivanovic...
You lucky man getting to see his goal.
Yeah, I was right down that end as well. I was shaking my head.
Seeing my points flicker past your eyes.
Because Ivanovic is one of my favourite players, and he's one I'm very loyal to, so... It felt like betrayal, really did, when I saw that goal go in. It was a real shame. So you've done very well out of your defenders. That's been the difference between that sides, really. And the fact I bottled it on Arnautovic, which is just, I don't know. What was I doing? I don't know. Luke, let's go over to you. Are you gonna beat Jonty's scores? I guess not.
I've got 37 at the moment. I'm not sure on the bonus situation. Payet doesn't qualify for one, or does? I'm not sure at the moment.
We're scratching around, aren't we, really?
Yeah, scraping the barrel in any case, isn't it? That's followed up after a 35 last week.
That's poor. So bad. Yeah, you're not wrong, were you, about your game weeks? Yeah. No,
it's trying to avoid the template as much as possible. It's just not really working for me, and I've ended up template enough as it is anyway. So yeah, no Mesut Ozil's killing me.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, talking of Mesut Ozil, Andy, got to come to you at this point because I've got a teaser about this. You went Sanchez to Ozil. What is that about? That is seriously sideways, isn't it?
I didn't make that transfer. I've still got Sanchez.
Oh, you didn't make that transfer? It must be no, Andy. It's Granville said to me today. He said you got to tease Andy about his transfer.
No.
He's talking about top of the table, Andy. Then is he?
No. I think he was talking about me. I did put on Twitter that that was gonna be my move this week.
Oh, and you didn't do it.
No, he said to me, what's the point? It's very boring, blah, blah, blah.
And he talked you out of it?
No, I won't bore you with the story of why I've still got him, but yeah, I decided to keep him, basically. I didn't think it was worth a transfer to Ozil, who might blank 30.
No.
So yeah, I decided to keep him and got an assist tonight, so actually the right decision.
Wow, got an assist out of Sanchez. What is wrong with him, though? I mean, we just wanted him to come back, didn't we? And do what Hazard hasn't done and kind of rip up the midfield area, give us that option of a big heavy hitter again, and he's been so disappointed, so much so that we're celebrating a Sanchez assist. Which what happened to the hat tricks? What happened to these these double figure hauls?
He hit the bar again tonight. He hit the bar from a free kick, and every time I looked at the Arsenal Twitter feed, he was having a shot, but same old story, lots of shots, no goals. We need him back. So how have your 2 game weeks gone, Andy? Yeah, so 36 this week, so I think I'm bottom of the pile. Really just Sanchez, Payet, and Super Charlie Daniels keeping me afloat. And then the week before, 47, so it was a green arrow, so I can't complain too much. Again, it was really the guys at the back, similar to Jonty. So I had a Schmeichel clean sheet, Danny Rose goal, and another Daniels clean sheet, plus a couple of bonus.
Danny Rose delivers against the odds, and we were talking before we came on, he might not be a bad asset.
Yeah, see, right now, the way it's going, he is being rotated, but you can call it. So they're literally rotating every other game, so you know when he's going to play at the moment. Now that could change. So yeah, he seems okay to own right now.
And he's not coming off the bench, is he? That's the key thing.
Yeah, that's
he's not doing a Kolarov where it really hurts you with the 1 point at the end. So.
Yeah, I don't think. Same for Davis. If you have him, he doesn't. I don't think he's coming off the bench either. They tend to make attacking changes usually. So yeah, he's decent to own right now.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Jonty, we needed Sanchez to come back and it hasn't happened. I mean, I think it's like I said, the differentials at the moment, the fifth mid and the defence, and you played a blinder with Daniels. He's just been exceptional. I just cannot believe how he's outscored. I've had Alderweireld and Bellerin, and I've been sitting smugly with those two thinking it's only a matter of time. Only a matter of time before Jonty regrets not getting the Arsenal and Tottenham defence covered. And it just hasn't happened. Meanwhile, Daniels just picking off assists, picking off penalties, getting clean sheets where I didn't expect him to get them. He's destroyed me. He really has. And he's got to be your unsung hero over the last 10 weeks, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's pretty. Yeah, I mean, him and Ivanovic. What I've done, I always do with defenders really, is you think, okay, clean sheets are nice, but they're very hard to predict, especially this season, or rather, it seems this season. So you get the bit of extra. Daniel's on penalties. Daniels gets assists. Daniel gets bonus. It's one of the reasons I have Ivanovic. Ivanovic gets goals, gets assists, gets bonus, and you go on. Van Dijk, same. One of the reasons I avoided Toby A and also Bellerin is because it's thought that they've got a great goal threat. They haven't really, and they haven't scored for ages. And Bellerin does all these great runs, and he never really gets anything from them. And he also plays in a team where if they're going to do well and score, other people are going to hoover up the bonus. Whereas Bournemouth, one of those kind of slightly kind of, a bit, middle table to relegation embattled. So they're going to be going for a much more defensive type games. So these are the kind of defenders that I've honed in on and got. And Fuchs is another one at Leicester as well. And those who've got Huth as well, same thing. And so I've kind of avoided them. So I'm quite pleased I've avoided Arsenal and Spurs defenders. But I know Andy's mentioned Danny Rose, and he's actually quite a good player to have. He does do really well. He's
poor forward, I mean.
Games, so he's clearly got that fitness level that perhaps other teams don't have, and he's getting those extra points. And the good thing is, if you've got quite a strong defence, and you can get one easily, just to get a Leicester defender and a Bournemouth defender. You can get Rose in, and if he doesn't play, well, he's not going to come on. So you haven't got that fear of a 1 point. He's either plays and gets your points, or he doesn't play, in which case Daniels or whoever it is you've got coming in. It's a great tactic. I think people get having Rose a good. Rose also plays in game week 30. I'm tempted myself.
The thing is with the Spurs defence, I'm looking at Toby Alderweireld now, trying to find a crumb of comfort in his stats, and I'm looking at the last time they conceded 2 goals in a game was like game week 16. It's like that was home to Newcastle of all teams. So they're just very good at conceding 1 goal and not getting me a clean sheet effectively. Yes, he hasn't. He really should have had more than a couple of goals to his name. He had a 25-yarder tonight. He gets forward a lot. Has a lot of efforts on goal. It wouldn't surprise me if Toby gets a couple of goals before the end of the season. But it's just those clean sheets. Some of those games that they've let silly goals in. 4-1 at home to Sunderland. They let the opening goal in, didn't they? Or 1-0 down, and they came back and won 4-1. Games against Palace where they concede that own goal that Vertonghen scored. It's just careless mistakes that have cost them clean sheets, and it makes Toby Alderweireld, a bit of a very, very frustrating asset to own. Bellerin, you're right. I mean, he would share bonus if Arsenal were playing well, but they're not, are they? That's the thing. Giroud's not playing well, Walcott's not playing, so no one's really scoring the goals. Sanchez, we've talked about already. Ozil's the one hoovering up bonus. So I don't always quite agree that Bellerin's not in for bonus if Arsenal win with a clean sheet. I think he would be. It's just they're just not doing it at the moment. They're throwing it away, aren't they?
There's further bad news apparently. Now I haven't got this confirmed. It's just
injury, is it?
Petr Cech may have pulled a hamstring going up for a stoppage time corner. Once again, I've not got this verified, but it's true.
Going up for a stoppage time corner.
Yeah, if that's true, then you can kiss goodbye to Arsenal's clean sheets. I would ditch Bellerin immediately.
The thing is, I'll probably play Cech with one leg anyway over Spina, I reckon.
What clean sheets, Johnny?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is the hope, the vague hope that they might get a clean sheet, but they're not. They've got no hope now.
That is a blow.
Every competitor in that price range is not delivering those, isn't it?
But once again, I haven't had that confirmed, so this could be, someone could be, just.
The beauty of a final whistle Scoutcast, get live injury updates.
Rumours. Also, just another update, quick one before. I know we want to have a chat about Southampton defence because on defenders, but it looks like the average points for this game week are 35.
That's more than I got.
And the average points for the top 10,000. This is courtesy of FPL Discovery website, is 36, could be 37.
Okay.
So
not a good week for the veterans, I don't think.
Not a good week for. Well, I mean, I've got a couple more than that, but I don't think it's a good week for anyone, to be honest. So.
No, shambles. What a shame. I mean, we might get. Well, maybe the midweek drama's all been saved up for the double game weeks. We've got to look at it like that. They're coming up, and I'd settle for some midweek joy via those.
I'm being told that the Cech injury has been confirmed on a number of reputable news sources. So, time to wave goodbye to Bellerin.
Maybe. We'll see. But, maybe not. I don't know.
But maybe a Southampton defender that actually plays might be someone you're after.
Okay, let's talk Southampton, because there's a myth that they've gone downhill recently because of those 2 lost clean sheets. The loss to Chelsea, lost to Bournemouth. You're not buying it, are you, John? But you wouldn't do, would you? Because you've got all your money tied up in Mr. Van Dijk.
Yeah, I've got all my money rather than all my pennies tied up in Target. He doesn't play. So
we'll talk about him in a minute. 3.9. I could afford that.
The fantastic Cayman Fox, one of my favourite posters' names, asked, "What's suddenly gone wrong with Southampton defence? Goalkeeper errors, change in formation, or are they just plain unlucky?" Well, I had a little look at some of the stats. I've just gone for the last 2 matches, but I did have a look kind of previous 6 as well. So they were pretty lucky to keep some clean sheets, and they had some amazing performances, not just from Forster as well. But now looking at it, last 2 matches before the midweek fixtures, so this is 26 and 27, in terms of big chances conceded, which is the real clincher really. So obviously you've got Villa at the top there, they got 8. But Southampton 3. I mean, it's nothing really. It's kind of mid-table. I mean, put that into context. The lowest was Sunderland, Everton, and Liverpool. We've really tightened up. Just 1 big chance conceded over those 2 matches, and then goals in the box conceded. Well, actually, just 11. I mean, that compares to say West Brom over that period, 29. So you're looking at maybe 3 times. I mean, Swansea, they've had a couple of tough fixtures against very attacking sides, so they've had 26. They've racked up. I'm not really seeing anything in the stats to suggest.
Well, I went a bit deeper. I thought, well, I'm not having that. Let's have a look. So I looked at their last 2 game weeks compared to from game week 23 when they started picking up clean sheets, and then compared to the last 2 where they didn't keep clean sheets. So I looked at their run where they kept 6 in a row, didn't they, compared to the last 2. And there's a little bit of aggression, nothing major. You know, it's they are conceding more shots in and around the box. Goal attempts conceded have gone up to 14.5 from 12.4. Nothing major. I mean, you know, they were playing Chelsea, who were chasing the game because they were 1-0 down. So obviously they conceded possession, they conceded some chances, and that's what skewed the stats. Bournemouth was a bit of an outlier, maybe. Bournemouth are playing some decent stuff at the moment, and that was I don't know. Maybe there was some tired legs. I don't know. I think it's too early to start getting cold feet on the Southampton defence. They kept 6 clean sheets and they got a great goalkeeper. So I think.
The other factor about that is they're not scoring many goals, are they? So they're always in the bonus because none of the attacking players are getting them. I think they've scored 2 in I think 2 or 3 in their last 4.
Yeah, I mean,
in the last 4.
Koeman's found this system that works in terms of defensive resolve, but blimey, they really struggle going forward, and they've lost Austin to injury now. Long's also hobbled off at Bournemouth. So they're back to Alana and Pella and Mane, which we know how that's gone for most of the season. I don't know. I know you're pretty happy with Van Dijk, and I keep saying every week, I really fancy him. I should get him in because I like him as well. Maybe now, you know, maybe with the Arsenal situation, I'll make 2 different transfers at the back. Matt Targett, I think it's all right. I was disappointed he didn't play at Bournemouth. I don't think he's a rotation risk week in, week out. I think he played the away game at Swansea, and he played against Chelsea. I think it's just he rested a number of players in that game, just like Swansea did tonight, and Targett was one to drop out. He'll be back in at the weekend against Sunderland at home, and to be honest, that's all right. I mean, I'll settle for that if he plays a home fixture anyway. So the idea with Targett, though, is you can double up if you want to because he's so cheap. So I might do that. I might look at Van Dijk still, but they've still got Sunderland, Liverpool, Newcastle, their next 3 home games, which the trouble is, you're right with the clean sheet, so hard to predict. Andy, what's your take on the Southampton defence?
Yeah, well, I think it's no coincidence that the clean sheet started when Forster came back. And from what I didn't see the games, from what I read, both goals, or at least some of the goals they conceded in the last 2 games, were because of his mistakes. So perhaps there is no other difference. It's just that before he kept him in it, and the last 2 games he didn't. And going forward, we just have to hope that he's back to the previous 6 games. I mean, I've got Bertrand, so he's probably not the defender to own, like I said before, but I'm pretty happy to keep him with the fixtures they got coming up. 3 decent enough home fixtures, and I'd be happy to play him Stoke away as well. So, and he's got a game week 30 fixture, so kind of handy in that respect. So yeah, I'd keep it. I'm not too worried.
Yeah, Bertrand's all right. I mean, he obviously he's playing as part of 3 centre backs most of the time. I think Koeman's going to have to change the system though. I just don't. They've got so little goal threat. He's going to have to decide between whether he wants to, grind out 0-0s and 1-0s, or actually start entertaining again. But he probably hasn't got the players to do it now that Austin and Long are gone as well. So it's a difficult one. But yeah, you're sitting pretty with Van Dijk. I may well come in for 2 defenders. I will talk about my transfers at the end of the week. I've still got 2 transfers, and it might have to be 2 defenders. If Bellerin at Spurs, I probably wasn't going to play him anyway. But we'll talk about that at the end of the show. Another question, Jonty. What else have we got to deal with? Man City, or is it, or what else?
I mean, it's actually talking about game week 30. So, I mean, just before we come to Man City, I mean, and Man City are key to game week 30 because they have a game then. We're talking about rotation risk. So, you talked about target. So, yeah, I mean, he could play. He probably will. Maybe he won't. But he is a risk. He's not like a Van Dijk or Fonte, who they're going to play. Or even Bertrand. Bertrand's going to play. So, he is a risk. So, Jarvish asks, do we need to be ridding ourselves of these rotation risks come game week 30? I mean, I would say it all depends. Obviously, it depends. We've got game week 29 coming up, and game week 30. So people have got between 3 and 2 transfers left. If you can't get up to 11 players, and if that includes, if you can't get up to 12 players, including the likes of Target or Rose or Kolarov, then yeah, I think you do need to be looking at getting rid of them. But if you can afford to carry that and you've got a backup on your bench just in case they don't play, then that's fine. Or if you're quite happy to take hits.
Yeah, I mean, I had a look at it. And this made me feel even worse about not making the Arnautovic move. But I've got 12 players playing at the moment, and that's with the 2 Arsenal. So if Arsenal don't play, I'm down to 10, but I've got 3 transfers yet. And at the point where I could have made the Arnautovic move and didn't, I chose to bank my transfer, I had 4 transfers. I was a complete fool. I just don't know how that was a complete oversight. And so I'm okay with holding on to target because I think I'll end up having 12 players that will play in that game week, especially if I do. That's the other reason why Bellerin's on a tightrope, because obviously he may well miss game week 30. So if I get rid this week, I'm actually making one of those trades that stocks me up for game week 30. And the way Arsenal play tonight, they could lose to Hull anyway, though, and keep their fixture, couldn't they? So who's to know? It's so hard to predict. And Kolarov, get rid, I think, because he's locked in rotation with Clichy, isn't he? And it actually looks like Clichy's first choice, given that he played the Capital One Cup final. Luke, have you got any of those? Have you got any kind of rotation risks in your squad, or are you okay, you reckon?
I think I'm okay, to be honest, in that regard. Not that they've done any good for me, but they're at least playing. That's just one of the rules of fantasy football, isn't it? You don't have a player who's a rotation risk unless they're incredibly cheap and on your bench and it doesn't bother you. Otherwise, there's no reason to have them. But I say that, but Kolarov was absolutely amazing to begin with, wasn't he? I imagine he'll come in and troll us at some point somehow. He'll probably come back and be absolutely amazing for 3 games.
Well, it could be this week, because they got Villa at home and he didn't play tonight, so he looks odds on to start that game. And there's a bit of chatter about Kolarov for the weekend. It is like that, isn't it? It's one week hit with him.
Might captain him.
Yeah, he could do really well, but he's certainly not a player you want to keep with game week 30 looming. And in the double game weeks as well, he's gonna share it with Clichy, so it's not going to work out with players like that. Target, I think, is in a different bracket. I don't think he's locked in a rotation with Yoshida week in, week out. I think it's just if Koeman's going to freshen things up, he'll drop Target. It'll be for rest. And Southampton, with the way they're playing with Cedric and Target, they're doing a lot of running. So I guess that's always the danger. So yeah, but 3-9, I'll suffer it, I think, and maybe get Van Dijk in. So I think I'll be all right. But yeah, good advice from Jarvish, I think. Yeah. We're moving on to Man City then, John T.
Yeah, well, loads of questions. It was probably actually the most talked about discussion, most asked about. So I'll just quickly go through some of the people. Atletico Timbo, Mike HR Brew, Don Hush, Flapjack, as well asks as well about Man City. We're all talking about Man City midfielders. They play in game week 30. Not only do they play in game week 30, they've got Aston Villa at home next, and you couldn't wish for a better tie. And then they've got Norwich. Before, I'm sure we're all dreaming of Yaya Toure. Well, I was. I mean, I always.
You always are. You've only got to step out of the shower, look at your chest in the mirror, and
that's it.
Tattoo, isn't it?
I think it was his brother who was stepping out the shower, but it was. I'm sorry, I've all befuddled with.
I've flown you.
Talking about and obviously David Silva as well, who has been in previous matches impressive. But we have the latest stats in from the game tonight, which they lost.
Yeah, these are going to be depressing, aren't they?
Massively depressing. So I put Milner as my little, underneath my name, because I'm a really dull manager, and Milner is the dullest player. And there he goes with 4. So I'm putting it into context here. James Milner got 4 goal attempts, 2 on target, Lots and lots of points coming his way, bonus points. So we go back down. So, okay, this is a sliding scale of rubbishness of Man City. So Aguero, well, he's one goal attempt.
Did he have a shot? Did he? Right.
He did have a shot, and it was off target. And he had 7 penalty box touches, which is the most of the match, but so pretty poor. And then, so David Silva, we want him, don't we? No, he's got nothing. 0. He ain't got anything. All zeros. Everything. He didn't even. I don't even know if he played. So he panicked. Yaya Toure didn't play, but matched David Silva for stats without playing.
There you go. That's positive.
That's how good Yaya Toure is. So we don't know. We don't know whether they're any good. So for me personally, my dreams of getting rid of, say, Payet for David Silva, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to Payet against Everton. Thank you very much.
What was funny was before tonight, and I think Andy said this as well. Before tonight, I actually had because last week we sat here and went, "Oh no, Man City midfielders," and I actually said this is before they played in Europe in Kiev, and I said, well, you know, I wouldn't go near Man City at the moment. The spirit seems to be that the Pellegrini departure seems to have drained them. Then they played superbly in Kiev, absolutely brilliantly the next night, and I watched that match and thought, well, hello, maybe I've misjudged them here. And then, you know, they won the Capital One Cup final. It was a decent cup final. They played well. I think they had the better of the chances. And you after that match, people were talking about, well, this could be a stepping stone for City. You know, they're 6 points behind. They can use this as a platform. They're going to Liverpool midweek. Both teams are going to be leggy. And going into tonight, I was like, actually, I was lingering on Toure before the foot injury news broke. I was going to get Toure in as my transfer because I thought, well, they've got to get a result at Liverpool. They're going to go after goals. They always stick to the way forward. And then they got Villa and Norwich. So I changed my mind on City midfielders completely from last week. Andy, I think you said the same, didn't you?
Yeah, so similar to you last week, I said I wasn't going to consider. I think that was a bit of an oversight because I hadn't quite checked the fixtures properly. So before we came on, I put a little note on the site to say before they've played, I'm already considering them because I was hoping that Silva was going to go out and score a few goals. Yeah, Villa and Norwich. I would still back them against them. I think he's backed most teams. Yaya Toure, I said last week, what's he playing for? And he goes and scores a really nice goal in Kiev. So I don't know. I still like the look of them, and the fact they've got a game week 30 fixture is really handy if you don't have a strong 15.
And we know they're going to have a double game week in probably 34. So
yeah, exactly. So I'm
and that's a Newcastle game, isn't it? So
I think you just got to look at each game in isolation with Man City. They're so hot and cold. It's incredible. I mean, I was even looking at the defence-wise because I know they've been talking about defence there in some of the questions. They conceded 8 goals in the last 4 games, which is only worse than Newcastle and Villa. That's shocking. I mean, they're all over the place, aren't they, in all areas? It's just insane. But then in isolation, the Villa game and the Norwich game, you know, they're great players. They're playing terrible teams. Big scores are possible. It's just insane.
The thing is, though, it's about that. Do you think after tonight's defeat, and I'll put this to all 3 of you, do you think after tonight's defeat they still feel they're in the title race? I guess they do because of the Spurs defeat and Arsenal's defeat.
Exactly, yeah. I think if Arsenal had won tonight and Spurs had won, then I still wouldn't count City out, but I would have, you know, it would have been really difficult. But they lost, so did everyone else. Leicester only drew, so I'd say they're still in it. I think it's 7 points off the top now. I think it is. So, you know, we've seen point gaps like that been caught before. So, and it is Man City after all. So, yeah, I still think they can do it. I wouldn't count them out.
Well, this is it, isn't it? I think luckily results have gone so badly for everybody tonight that they still think they're in it. Yeah, I mean they're 10 points off it. It's 10 points.
Oh, it's 10. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a big gap.
I think Champions League is going to be their main focus.
Well, that's the other thing they've got to worry about because Man United are now level on points with them. How did that happen? I mean, it's crazy.
Maybe Pellegrini just wants to leave Guardiola with Europa League. Who knows?
Well, that's obviously. I think that has affected things, but I still think you've got to, like you say, Andy. You look at those 2 fixtures, and against Villa, that could be people. I mean, there's a question about Triple C, isn't there, on Aguero, Jonty?
Yeah, I know. There's. I mean, Bootstrap asks, he's weighing up, actually using the triple captain on Aguero, because I mean, we're all thinking, oh, this is another game week 8, the fable game week 8, where Aguero for the last 2 seasons has absolutely annihilated teams. But I mean, just while we've been on air, a couple of people on our YouTube chat, Michael Brown and Andy Shears, have been pointing out that there's been that Aguero's form wasn't actually that great going into game week 8, and yet here he is. So I mean that's really that's really something to hold on to. And I think with Aguero, I'd be reluctant to triple captain anyone outside of one of the double game weeks, because I think that's the key there, because you're going to get loads of points potentially. But I think Aguero is a cast iron captaincy for this week, and he's got to be assisted by someone. So we talked about these midfielders. I mean, I think he's going to play. I think he's going to score against Villa, and he's going to be assisted by people. And he's going to be the likes of Sterling. I mean, it's probably going to be the really horrible players that no one wants, like Navas or Fernando. Or one of them. And so, I mean, it's a bit of a lottery. So for me, I just think stick the captaincy on the ground. I think triple captaincy, wasting it outside of a double game week. I just think this is our first chance to use a triple captaincy on a double game week. I think that's too good an opportunity to.
Yeah, I think you're right, and we know there's 2 double game weeks going to come up, so it's not like we've only got one shot of this. Yeah. So you can use bench boost in one, triple C in the other. And normally you would look at that Villa fixture and go, well, that is an option. But after tonight, City just seem to be this two-headed beast that you just don't know what you're going to get, do you? I mean, on paper, that could be 5-6, 7-0, but you got to think that, are they tired? Is it just is the title? Does they feel like the title's gone? Is the Guardiola thing playing on their mind? There's something wrong, isn't there? So there's so many factors. You don't want to put your triple C on it, I don't think. And I've before tonight, I was going to go Toure for my transfer at home to Villa. Now I'm thinking maybe I just go 2 defenders, which is so dull. It's so desperately dull. I'm trying not to be, but I just don't know. I've got no hope of risking. I took a punt on Kasri, and I think we've got some questions coming up which mocks that. And we might as well go on to that one next and come back to the Payet one. Yeah. Who was it? Who got a couple of people?
Well, yeah, Zero. Mark, why Kasri? Are you friends with him? Christina, how many beers did Mark have before he decided to buy Kasri? I mean, in your defence, Kasri's an excellent player. He's Sunderland's best player. So, I mean, away you go. Why Kasri?
Well, they had Palace at home who can see, 19-8, was it? Their defence was a shambles. And as it was, yes, Sunderland scored twice. Kasri didn't get anything. Apparently, Kabul missed a sitter from a Kasri set piece. I got it because Kasri takes all the set pieces. He's got a goal threat. He got double figures against United, and he got 9 points at Liverpool. He would get bonus if he gets anything. He's like an Ozil. He so many key passes. If he gets anything, he's got a good chance of bonus. He didn't get me anything. I had a choice between going Willian, who ended up not playing, and Nauzovic, who I was just so angry about missing out on the points that I didn't want to chase them and get him, or Kasri. And in the end, I went Kasri, and neither of the other two did anything anyway. So I don't know. It didn't pay off, but it could have done. I think there was sense in it. Someone said, I think in the same thread, someone said, "Well, Mark would have got Kasri for long term. He won't be getting him in for 1 week." Sorry, no, I am just getting him in for 1 week. I did plan to go Kasri in this week and then go Toure or maybe Sigurdsson, but that was before the Czech news. Maybe I've changed my mind now. I'll have to think about that. So Kasri might well stay, but I've got to admit, hands up, he was just a 1 week punt for the Palace game. But I think if Sunderland are going to stay up, they've got to win matches, and I wouldn't put it past them to score at Southampton on Saturday, because we've got a question on this later on about motivation, and we've seen Sunderland. We saw Leicester last year. Just teams can come out of nowhere and start scoring goals because they've got to keep. It's a lifeline. They're fighting for their lives. So Kasri will be a decent player, I think, between now and the end of the season, and I might end up holding on to him now out of needs must. We'll see. Question on Payet, isn't there, Jonty?
Yeah, Chris Jerome asks, is it worth transferring Payet for the foreseeable future, given he has a blank game week 30? He has a blank in game week 35 as well, I understand. And he's got a couple of tricky fixtures coming up as well.
More than a couple. Their fixtures are really tough.
Yeah, their fixtures is 10. I mean, from my point of view, yes, it is worth transferring him out. It makes absolutely no sense to have a player who's not playing and has those terrible fixtures when there's so many other players that are good. So, I mean, I've already got Sigurdsson in. He's a player I would advise people to have a look at. He even came off the bench today and got points. So and there's lots of players cheaper than Payet or in the same price range who are. Even Milner is getting these points in as well. But I'd be looking at game week 30. People are going to be looking at game week 30, so you need to be looking at who is playing game week 30. Payet isn't, so you want a player that is. So yes, Arnautovic, he's playing. Bournemouth. There's a Bournemouth player I'm going to mention a bit later on, so I won't reveal who that is. But there's a Bournemouth player I think is a good option. And of course we've got Spurs as well. So there's still people. Ericsson, his underlying stats are absolutely superb. And then, of course, for those without, perhaps they might not have tripled up on Leicester yet. And then maybe we might see some shoots of recovery in Man City. But there's all of these players I'm mentioning, who are all playing game week 30, all with better fixtures. For me, I probably might keep Payet for Everton, though.
He delivered tonight an assist. The thing about Payet, though, West Ham are playing so well. That's the thing. And although the fixtures are tough, and it is, Everton away at the weekend, then the blank, Chelsea away. Okay, Palace at home looks all right. Then they've got Arsenal and Leicester, then another blank at the moment. There's going to be a double game week in there somewhere, probably in 34, and then another one 37. So there is a silver lining to that cloud. But I would say the one thing about West Ham is they're on a great run. Defensively so strong. Another clean sheet tonight. Payet delivered the assist, so when they score, Payet's always in the mix, isn't he, there or thereabouts. But you've got Antonio, who even from right back manages to score goals. So that's the thing. If you get rid of Payet, you've got the Antonio option, which he looks tempting. Even though we don't need the money, he's got a cutting edge, which Payet hasn't got. Can't match him for goal threat. That's for sure at the moment. That's pretty clear. You've got Payet, Andy. You thinking about getting rid?
Yeah, I kind of along the same lines. I think he probably is worth keeping for Everton if you can. I'll come on to my transfers later, and there's a reason he'll probably go this week for me. I just think with the blank and then Chelsea, and then we're getting close to 34, and we're probably going to wildcard in 33, so you can get him back if you need to. I just think it's perfectly viable to get rid for these run of fixtures. No one wants to play him probably, or is expecting many points at Chelsea away. Obviously with a blank as well. It all depends on what the rest of your team looks like. If you can cover him, maybe it's worth keeping. But for me, I'm just going to go for a player with better fixtures and just hope that I get because he's quite highly owned. So if you can get off at the right time, it could do well for rankings.
Yeah.
Obviously could punish you, but yeah, I'm going to get off, I think, and see what happens.
Yeah, I think the favourite move is he's going to be the one that's going to go up to game week 30. People are going to keep him for the Everton game. Get rid for the 30 because he's got Chelsea away after that, and then maybe look again for the double header of home matches, Palace and Arsenal, because we're anticipating that his double game week will arrive in 34, which will slot it alongside the Leicester game. So yeah, I don't know. Payet is he in your FPL and your Sky team, Luke?
Yeah, he is. He's incredibly cheap in Sky, and it doesn't make sense to swap people in and out fixture-wise like that over a small period, obviously because of the limited transfers. So I'll definitely be keeping him. I'll probably be keeping him in FPL as well, just because I've got to stick up for him a little bit. You said they're playing well. He's big fish, small pond kind of situation there. He's involved in everything. Everyone knows what Payet's good for. He basically has to turn up on the pitch, and he's in the frame for bonus. Again, it comes down to what Andy says there. If your team can handle it with him on the bench and you're still able to field the team, I still think there's a good, option to keep him. He's always going to be in the frame for points, and the other options, they do sound good on paper, but picking the right one, sometimes it's better just to stay safe and stick with a highly owned player, isn't it? He'll probably end up punished us against Chelsea or something, There's the counter-attacking style. They did it at the beginning of the season, didn't they? Played the big teams and they come up...
Well, the thing is, look at the table. Look where West Ham are.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're playing with motivation for sure, aren't they? Because they can get in the top four.
Exactly. Similar to the Ozil situation a few weeks back when everyone was looking to get rid of him. He's the best player in their team, and when he plays in that number 10 role, because I know he's been shifted out to the wide a few times, he's deadly. He's always in the frame, so I'm probably going to keep hold of him, to be honest.
Yeah, my situation, whether I keep him depends whether Arsenal get through or not. If they get through, then I'm going to be all right, and I don't need to sell him because I can bench him that week. If Arsenal get through and they're missing game week 30, then he will be the one to go. I think we'll see. I came into this game week with ideas of my transfers. That's changing every 24 hours, so it's just so hard to say, isn't it? It's difficult, but yeah, I can see a case for getting rid of Payet, but I think I want to give it that Everton game and give it another bit more time. I think that's the way to go. Another question, John T?
Well, this one, so I understand that Andy's been having a little look at as well. It's about motivation for players. So is it time to get rid of players that have nothing to play for?
Yeah.
So examples, this is individual asks this. Watford, Southampton, who we've discussed, and Stoke as well. Haven't really been pulling up trees. Some focus really on the relegation battlers and those going for the title. I understand, Andy, you had a little look at this, because there was a community article last year about this very subject.
Yeah, so as soon as I saw this question, I remembered this article. I couldn't find it, and Green Windmill, one of the other moderators, was able to find it. And basically, it was by Patch, and he looked into what happens towards the end of the season. It was actually after 28 games, just to see because the general narrative is that you don't want to play a relegation-threatened side towards the end of the season because they do better. But judging, so he looked last year. This is for the previous 10 seasons, and while the relegation teams do get slightly better, they score ever so slightly more goals. They concede ever so slightly few goals as well. All the other teams do as well, including the middle range teams. So the mid-table teams, while the relegation teams are going to do better, so are the mid-table teams as well. So it's all about catch. It's just the same as every other time throughout the season. It's about catching the right one, because obviously Leicester last year, they suddenly kept clean sheets out of nowhere. And so one of the relegation teams might do that now, but I wouldn't necessarily start getting rid of all your Southampton and Stoke players just in case that happens. I just think maybe wait and see what the stats say, and go from there. But yeah, looking at the last 10 seasons from last year, doesn't seem to happen that often.
I'm looking at the table now. I'm thinking, okay, who are? I mean, personally, I think we've talked about this before. We've mentioned it today with Kasri and Payet. It's about the big fish in the small pond. I think. You look at the teams that don't. You forget Villa now, can't we? Well, they haven't got any. Even if we didn't forget Villa, just trying to find a player to go with there is impossible. Newcastle have got Wijnaldum, and you kind of think, well, if they're going to stay up, they've got to win their home games, and we know what Wijnaldum can do at home. And looking at their home fixtures, they got Bournemouth this weekend, and then Sunderland and Swansea. That's their next 3 home matches. So. They are big games. I mean, they're massive games. They're all 3 of almost 6-pointers. Bournemouth, I suppose, you think, maybe out of the relegation battle, but Sunderland and Swansea probably aren't. Certainly Sunderland are. So, Wijnaldum could be an option down there. And we've mentioned Kasri for Sunderland as well. And I guess, if you're putting Swansea in there, Sigurdsson is your man there. So I think like Andy says, it's not just about, look at teams that have got motivation at the bottom. You've got to find the team that has some form, and then find the player that's key. Leicester had it with Vardy and Mahrez, and it could be Wijnaldum, Kasri, or Sigurdsson that do it for the relegation battlers this season. Norwich, I don't know. Has Norwich got anyone, John T? I mean, it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, they got players, but they're hopeless for Fantasy Premier League. So they've got players like Redmond and Houlihan who are very capable of getting quite good score. We don't know whether they're going to play. There's so much rotation there. I mean, across everywhere. All season, Neil has not known his first 11, and he hasn't got one. He's got a first 22, 23. I mean, looking at over the last 4 matches in terms of goal threats, I was trying to get a sense of over the last 4 matches, is there an indication yet of a bit of a malaise? And it's kind of the usual suspects really, but the players that are doing pretty badly. The teams that are doing really badly, rather. West Brom have got the lowest attempts. They've always got the lowest attempts. There's a Pulis side, and then Villa's down there as well, and then Southampton. And Watford. So perhaps there is something to be said. Southampton and Watford are down there. They're really low. They're the third and 4th worst in terms of goal attempts over the last 4 matches. And then you've got Stoke as well, and Newcastle and Bournemouth. You've got all these ones, and then right at the top you've got Tottenham. So Tottenham and Everton. Arsenal, Man City, they're really going for it. So these are kind of title contenders or Europe places. Everton are a bit of a surprise, being figuring so highly. And then you've got West Ham who are really going for it. And then behind Swansea and Sunderland. So when you talk about Kasri, I think you were right to get him. Because when I look at all of these teams that are threatened with relegation or, have a bit about them to do a kind of a Leicester, I think Sunderland have got got the squad to do that. They've got the players. They've got Jermaine Defoe. They've got Kasri. They've got Van Arnholt. They've got players that are good fantasy prospects.
Yeah, and also Allardyce knows how to get out of it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I look at Villa. Villa have gone, and I can't. They just don't have. They don't have the manager, the team structure, the club structure, the players. They have nothing. They have nothing for a fantasy manager, and they have nothing for a real life Villa fan.
And I think if I was going to choose without Newcastle and Sunderland, I would probably back Big Sam and Sunderland, really. I mean, I do like Wijnaldum as a player, but I don't know if McLaren's got it in him to get him out of it. It's such a big game, that time we're Derby coming up. That's going to be huge, absolutely huge game. We talk about Stoke not being motivated. Look at the table. They're only 5 points out of the Champions League places. What is going on? It's just crazy, isn't it? It's just absolutely, this season, no one wants that 4th place. Suddenly it's wide open, and teams like Man United and Stoke, who I mean, Stoke have had a good season, to be fair, but they had a really dodgy run. Suddenly they're back in the Europa League places. I don't think Mark Hughes will want a Europa League place, though, will he? This is it. I mean, you're going to have teams who are in that mid-table position, one eye on that, going, well, do we want Europa League?
How far are Chelsea away? They're about the only team that seems to be putting results together at the moment.
Yeah, Chelsea are 8 points off 4th place, which, you know what?
That might be an outside bet.
Yeah, I know. It's a crazy season. It really is, and you just can't see how it's going to run at all. It's very, very difficult for us as fantasy managers trying to get these trends, try and spot these patterns. It's difficult. Talking of Chelsea, question on Costa, isn't there, Johnson?
Yeah, there is indeed. Giggs Boson, one of our community regulars, Diego Costa from game 31 onwards, and who makes way? So we've only got 3 striker places, and we've already got the likes of Vardy and Aguero and Kane. So who makes way? He's thinking. The reason he's saying Costa is because Chelsea will have a double game week over that period. Costa is the kind of player that you could possibly triple captain. You certainly play you want in a double game week. So who makes way? I mean, looking at their fixtures from game 31 right up to the end of the season, they're a bit hit and miss, but nevertheless, they've got some quite good ones there. They've got West Ham at home, Villa away, that's a good one, Swansea away, well, City at home after tonight, that could be quite a good match. Bournemouth away, Tottenham at home. Tottenham, who knows what can happen with that, but they'll be chasing as well. They could be going for the title by then. And then final games of the season, Sunderland away. So Sunderland could be battling relegation then. And then they got Leicester. That could be a title match for Leicester.
Yeah, I mean, it's all well and good. One thing you haven't mentioned though, Costa, he needs 2 bookings, right? And he's out for 2 matches, right? And he's got to get to the end of April, right? So that's a long way for him to get to, isn't it?
That is a long way. And so I mean, hold fire just at the moment. Also, I was just remembering there were some comments actually from the manager at Chelsea this week saying that he was tempted to rest Costa for one of the matches. He did play during the week, and Traore put in a very good case to replace him for the Stoke match. So
is he going to rest him for the Stoke match? Possibly.
It's possible that Costa will get a rest. So I would possibly say hold fire at the moment. I certainly wouldn't be ditching Kane or Vardy or Aguero. Certainly not.
The thing is, though, like Luke mentioned there, Chelsea are the only team with a run of form at the moment. And having looked at the results tonight and looking at that gap now, 8 points. I think he won't be saying this, but if he can go, well, if we beat Stoke and these teams keep slipping up, we could be within 4 or 5 points in a couple of weeks. So I don't think he will rest him. I think that's a bit of a red herring. But I do think there's a big risk with the bookings. West Ham at home, there's a booking waiting to happen in that game, and then Man City are at home. They'll get a booking out of him in that game as well, won't they? So he's got to go 6 matches. Yeah, 6 matches without a booking. Can't see it without 2 bookings. I think he's going to be suspended at some point. It's just when that will be, and whether it could fall in a double game week. Maybe I don't know. I said I wouldn't touch Costa again. So while he's on form and Chelsea look great, I loathe to go back there. But I've got to acknowledge he's in fine form, and at the moment, that move that you discussed about Aguero to Costa, we laughed about it, or we kind of had a chuckle, but it would have worked out in your favour, wouldn't it, if you'd have been brave enough?
Yeah, and captained him. If I'd have captained him this week, and captained all of those weeks, I've done really well. But what to be?
Yeah,
on a similar thing, Green Windmill asks us about Leicester and Spurs from here on. So we're looking at them, got good fixtures, but only single game weeks. So they're playing in the blanks, but no double game weeks. So, how many? I mean, realistically, we're going to have to, when we wild cards, or at least if people have already spent their wild card, you use that for the double game weeks. You've got to ditch some of them. You've got limited places. So one of Vardy and Mahrez possibly has got to go. Perhaps if you've got Ali and Kane, or some people have got Ali, Kane, and Eriksen. That's quite a lot to carry. Personally, I'd be looking to keep one, but maybe Ali or Kane, maybe Kane. Just 3 strikers. Strikers are fantastic in a double game week. We've seen it last season. Harry Kane himself, and also Charlie Austin was another great one. Even Ndoye for Hull was a good option.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's still knocking about again. For me, it's you keep Mahrez. Everyone else is disposable for me. Yeah. I think Vardy. We didn't captain him in this week, and that game he hit the bar. He had chances, but I think you're right. In a double game week, it's all about the strikers. They're most likely to get you the points, I would say, over 2 matches. So you're going to want to clear out Kane and Vardy, I would have thought. And Mahrez is just a player I think can produce against anyone, and he'd be the one that I would say is the immovable object. How do you feel on that, Luke, on the Tottenham-Leicester situation?
Just echo their sentiments, really. In the positions that most of us are in right now, it doesn't really make sense to stick with those well-owned players, does it? We're not really going to be achieving anything by doing that. It's probably the time to start taking some risks, and if they're only playing a single game, then, we've seen it before, haven't we, with double game weeks, some very unlikely players getting some big hauls. So, I think the situation will obviously get a bit clearer as we get close, but there'll probably be some standout names, and it will be too tempting for people just to hang on to those players. I'd look at maybe keeping Mahrez, like you said, possibly one of Kane or Ali, although Ali seems to have gone off the boil recently, as has Kane actually. But maybe 1 or 2, but the more double game week players you can get, the better, I would have said.
Well, Jonty blames Dembele for both of those things. I think Jonty, you if you've got some loose guttering, you blame Dembele for that, wouldn't you? At the moment, he's to blame for the whole everything's going wrong in our lives. It's all about Moussa Dembele. Andy, I don't know why loose guttering's a problem. Is it a problem for you at the moment? I know you've had some storms. Anyway, we'll move on from that. Andy, Danny Rose, is he going in as part of this great Leicester and Tottenham coal?
It's all gonna depend really about where the fixtures fall for double game week. But I'm all in for double game week. So if I can wildcard and get 15, I'll probably get rid of all my Leicester. Apart from Mahrez is tough because I've had him for so long. He's a lot. If I want him back, that's a lot of money to lose. But I'd be tempted to just offload them all. But then I've got no players from the teams number 1 and 2 in the league. And how does that even work? I don't know anymore.
It's crazy, isn't it, that we're actually going to do this? That we're actually going to wildcard 33 and have 15 players.
But what's the worst could happen?
I'm so in for that, though. I'm so in for 15 double gaming players. I can't wait.
Really?
Yeah, I get rid of all Leicester, Spurs, go all in.
It's going to be a crazy game. Although if it goes like other midweeks, it's going to be terribly depressing.
I don't know about you guys. I just have such good memories of double game weeks. I don't remember one that's severely let me down.
We need to get Glenville back on because he's got loads of stories.
I don't know. It's easy to say now. When it comes down to, can I get rid of all 6? Because like most people, I own 3 from each team. I don't know. I'd like to think I will. Mahrez will be the tough one because got so much money wrapped up in him. Vardy's dispensable for me because I've only just gone back in. There's no money tied up there. So I don't know. I'll take it as it comes. But I'd say at least 5, maybe 6 will go.
I mean, Jonty, as a dullard, are you going to be shaking and sweating as you make those trades to have 15 new players on the
No.
Just say no.
No, I'm with Andy. I mean, I don't know whether it's actually going to be possible, and it will depend on where the matches fall. But this is a rare chance to get 15. If we can wildcard 33 or 36, you can get 15 players playing the next week.
This is a dream. This is a fantasy football scout dream.
You can with your bench boost, you've got your 15 players that play twice. There's 30. So if they do nothing but show up and basically get the 2 points, you've got 60. What's he got? 64 points? Is that?
It's like
factoring the captain. 64.
To me, though, right? It's a bit farcical. It's like Willy Wonka's invented fantasy football. It's like, who invented this idea? You can play 15 players in 1 week.
Well, not everyone will play twice anyway, will they? There'll definitely be 1 or 2 that will let you down in the rotation there.
Yeah.
For sure. And there's going to be a couple that hit you with 4-pointers only, where a single game weeker will just have to get you 1 assist and he's outscored him straight away.
It's going to be it's crazy. Well, we got it to come. It's certainly going to be more entertaining midweek than the one that's just blown tonight. That's for sure. It is. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I think maybe I will get rid of Mahrez then. Maybe you've talked me into it, Andy. I don't know. It just doesn't seem right. Should we talk about the game week to come? We're not at this double game week yet. Let's not think about it too much. Let's think about game week 28 instead. 29 rather instead. John T, should we start us off with the clean sheets?
Right. Okay. So I think there's a lot this week. I'm wondering who to bench, but I think there's so many to choose from.
How can you predict it? We said this though. We said this going into this week.
I think there's a lot to choose from. I'm going to go for Chelsea. My man Ivanovic again against Stoke. I don't think Stoke have enough about them. And I think Chelsea will be looking to get a clean sheet then. I think Terry may also be back, may not, but
that is a head-to-head Champions League contenders though. That is Chelsea versus Stoke. Stoke going for Champions League places now. I think there could be one there. I mean, surely you've got to go Man City Villa. Are Villa going to score against Man City? Is that possible? Is that? I'm going to.
Like Luke said earlier, everyone else is, so maybe.
Yeah, James Milner has.
I know, but I don't know. I can't see Villa scoring at the Etihad. That'll be bizarre, wouldn't it? I've got to go Man City home to Villa. I think that's a home banker. Luke, have you got one there?
I think Leicester away. Watford can't score for toffee, can they? Igalo's just gone right off the boil. He was their main source of points, wasn't he? Deeney was chipping in here and there with penalties, a few little bits. But although apparently they played quite well today against United, they still couldn't find the back of that. They've only scored twice in the last 4. If Igalo's off form, Leicester have tightened up massively, haven't they? I think they'll get a clean sheet away there.
You say they've tightened up, though. We looked at the stats, didn't we, Jonathan? They've been shipping chances all over the place. They just haven't been conceding goals. So
that's the important part, Mark.
Yeah, I know. We love a stat, but it don't matter, does it, if you don't look in goals? Andy, do you want to pick a clean sheet? There's still a couple left there, isn't there?
Yeah, I got Southampton versus Sunderland written down, but I'm not entirely convinced by that one. So mine want to be Swansea against Norwich. Yeah. I think I just brought Williams in for this set of fixtures, so got to back him there, I think.
Yeah, we'll talk about Williams in a minute because I've got him. I've got my eye on him as well. Yeah, I think that's a good one as well. Fancy on this. I'll come to you, Jonty, first because I know you're itching. You've probably got a Bournemouth player. You like one of that Bournemouth mid-price midfielders, don't you? So go on.
I'm so dull. I've gone for a really boring player from a quite boring team, and it's the same player I picked last time we were on air, Matt Ritchie again. But lo and behold, last game week, I mean, I was a game week too early, but last game week he got the assist in. He was on my assists imminent table. His assists have now come, they've gone. He is now onto the other tables that say he's good. But he's still on the goals imminent table, so there's still goals to come, and he plays Newcastle next. And this is a good thing, because Evento for Life asks, can we suggest any differential as well? 0.9%, so less than 1% ownership. There we go, Matt Ritchie.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see. I think Bournemouth are playing and managing games out, so I don't know if there'll be many goals in that game. I think Bournemouth will settle for a point, so I worry about that. I don't know. I'll let Luke take the next one though, because I've got one in mind, but he might nick it. Luke, what's your fancy on and risk?
I'm panicking looking for one right now because I haven't got one prepared. But
I'll come back to that. We'll go to Andy next, and I'm sure Andy's got one up his sleeve ready. Have you?
Yeah, so I'm going for the new Anthony Martial.
Oh, come on.
That's right. But how can I not choose a Man United striker? I never usually get the chance. So yeah, it has to be Rashford, even though he didn't score tonight, but West Brom, easy.
He didn't score tonight. There's a surprise. He hasn't scored. He's not scoring in the game.
No. Free scoring, I think, from scoring against Watford.
No, I mean, I don't know. I am. You said before we went on there, I don't like these flash in the pan United strikers. I was against Martial, and I got that one right. I don't know if I'm getting the Rashford one right. I just think it's a bit, I don't know,
Yeah, I wouldn't be too sure about it. I know everyone was bringing him in this week. I think against Arsenal he scored twice, but there were only 2 shots or something. So, yeah, I can't resist picking a Man United striker when I get the chance. So, yeah, Rashford for me.
Fair enough. Luke, have you had a flash of inspiration off the back of that?
Well, I honestly would like to pick an Everton player the way they just attack all the time, and I see Lennon's riding extremely high. I mean, so he looks good. But then Moreles, didn't he score an assist the other night as well?
Yeah.
So I couldn't be sure he's going to play. But if he plays, I'll go for Lennon because his stats are actually really impressive at the moment.
Yeah, and that Everton West Ham game, I bet will have goals in it because I think they're going to go for it. I think Everton, they got to it, they're going to have to lose, and in West Ham, I've got plenty of talent as well. So yeah, I think that's a good game for goals. I'm going to go the player against United. Rondon's playing well for West Brom, but I'll go Berahino because I think against Man United, Berahino knows the cameras will be on him. I fancy him to score in that one. I think that's going to be West Brom. What's going on? West Brom scoring goals. The season can't get any more bizarre than West Brom when West Brom got 5 goals in the last 2 games. It's just crazy, isn't it? They look a goal for it. I mean, I spoke to Gravel in the week. He said to me he was thinking of getting Rondon, and then he goes and scores, didn't he, at Leicester? And maybe he should have done. So
they flipped from one extreme to the other, didn't they? Yeah, little patches.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. So I'll go Berahino for that one. Fancy Olivis there. Okay, plans for game week 29. Let's talk transfers. Let's talk captains. I'm coming to you first, Andy. I think let's go with you because you've already kind of hinted at yours. So go ahead.
Yeah, I think captain-wise, I'll be surprised if anyone isn't captain Aguero this week out of us 4. So he's my captain. Transfers, I've got 2. Because I've got Stanislas in my 5th mid, I kind of need to change probably Sanchez and Payet for game week 30 players. I'm tempted to just give Sanchez 1 more week and just see if he does get the blank or not. Because if he doesn't, West Brom at home is not the worst fixture to have him for, I don't think. So I'll probably do Payet out, and it will be for Sigurdsson.
Okay.
Their fixtures are nice. He seems to be doing well. Got another assist tonight.
Yeah.
So yeah, back to fixtures and the player. I think he's been doing well recently.
Yeah.
And he's playing a game week 30.
John T, no need to ask you, you're going to captain because I think Andy is spot on. I think we're all going to go Aguero, but you're going to confirm that?
Yeah, no brain. It has to be Aguero. We'll go down together on that one.
Yeah, let's go.
But we'll rise up the ranks even. And
you've got 1 or 2?
I've got 2, so I've got to use one. I'm going to probably play Payet, and I'm probably going to bench Ali because I think Ali's home form's not great. I think Arsenal are going to play a bit better for that game, and Ali is always a kick away from a red card, and I think the North London derby could be his scene. So I've already got Sigurdsson in early, so I don't need to make that move. I'm actually looking at my weakest link, and my weakest link this week is my goalie. I've got Hennessy and Butland. Now, Butland's facing Chelsea, and Hennessy's and Palace defence is rubbish. So I'm thinking of Hennessy out for Fabianski. That gives me Swansea defensive cover.
And he'll be very handy over the next 3, won't he? So.
Yeah, and I think Butland could come back. I mean, it'd be nice to have a choice of Butland or Fabianski, and I'll be wildcarding in 3 or 4 game weeks anyway, so I can move that excess money that I've got tied up in those 2 goals.
Yeah, I've also got the 2. I was set on going Ashley Williams at the back and then Toure in midfield for Kasri, but tonight's situation has changed all that. I think hearing about the Bellerin injury, I'm now the Czech injury. I'm now tempted to get rid of Bellerin because at Spurs, that's such a difficult game, could blow over, and then Arsenal could miss game week 30 yet. But the trouble is, I know what'll happen. I'll sell Bellerin, I'll bench Alderweireld, and it'll be a 0-0. And I'll miss out on the 2 clean sheets. Meanwhile, you'll get the points in from Daniels, Ivanovic, and Van Dijk and murder me. So I don't know. I've got the 2 transfers. I'm going to use them this week because it's desperate measures, I think. So yeah, I think I'll get Ashley Williams in because I want to cover that the Swansea fixtures because their next 3 are so strong. And then will I keep Kasri? Will I get rid of Payet? It's going to be. It could be that I keep those 2 and make 2 defensive moves, and maybe Bellerin to Van Dijk is what I'll do to double up on the Southampton. I don't know. It's all out to tender, shall we speak. I will be. The jury is out. We'll see what happens. Everything's going to change, I think, the next couple of days. Luke, what have you got planned?
I'm going to really boring and roll a transfer. I just need the 2 for game week 30. But captain-wise, I might be exciting and not put it on Aguero. The only thing is, I don't know who the alternative is in my team to put it on. I just think if I've got any chance of making any ground, I've got to go different. But that's probably the wrong thing to do. I can't see another option, to be honest. I might just go crazy and put it on Kane and just hope left out, they'll blast him because it's local derby, and they'll just rattle 3 past him or something. I don't know.
Go with Sanchez maybe. I'm looking at your team here. You haven't really got a wealth of options, have you? It's just the way the fixtures fall as well. There's nothing really that screams out.
Exactly.
Difficult one. Maybe Mahrez, maybe just back Leicester for goals.
Yeah, it's an option. I'll probably end up going Aguero, to be honest, but it's nice to think about something different at least.
Well, exactly. As I've said for so many weeks this season, it's nice to have something to think about, something different. Go with a Kasri now and again and bank your 2 points. That's what I say. I don't know. Try, don't we? We do try. John T, there was let's round off because there was a question we missed out, which is about rank expectations.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good time to roll that out, isn't it? Because this will change up, won't it?
Yeah, so King Nidge, realistic rank expectations for the season.
Realistic. You didn't mention
realistic. Well, I'm 70,000 or so. A couple of weeks ago, I'd have been happy finishing the season in the top 100,000. I'm now thinking if the double game weeks pan out and perhaps Aguero does another amazing move, because we think everyone's going to captain him and everyone owns him, but overall ranking, there's still 2/3 of managers. Admittedly, a lot of them are going to be lower down in the rankings. 2/3 of managers without him, so there's still ground to be made up there. And there's still people who play for the club loyalties, who won't captain or won't own a Man City player if they're a Man U fan, and vice versa. I still hear that all the time. So I think I would like to do better than my worst ever season, which was 59,000.
I think I do that. I think you'll be fine with that.
Top 20,000 would be great, but realistically, top 50,000, I would be very happy with.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. I think that's within reach. Andy, I'll come to you next because that'll make me feel better. Andy, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I'm currently ranked 563k. So I've had a few green arrows to get to that point, so I'm doing all right at the moment. I actually used a pretty handy tool called the Gargatron to see how far off I am from different rankings. So from top 100k, I'm 79 points off. So I think the last 10 games with double game weeks thrown in and stuff and planning, I think I could probably get to that. I think top 50k is 100 points in 10 game weeks. I think that's probably the best I'm looking at right now is 50k, but realistically, I think I've got to aim for 100k from here.
Where would that sit on your overall ranks in your history? Is that a reasonable one for you, or?
Yeah, I think I finished outside the top 100k one year. I think it was. I'll just quickly look now. Yeah, 104k. So if I can finish inside, that'd be great. But even at 563k, I'm still in for some money in mini leagues. So I'm not too arsed about my rank if I can get some money.
You and your money mini leagues, I don't know. Luca, you're another lover of those, aren't you? So what about your expectations?
They've gone right down the pan. About 6 weeks ago, I just broke into the top 100,000. I was in sort of Johnny's position now. I've got 90.
And the nose started to bleed profusely.
Yeah, exactly. And I started to get excited, thinking, you know what, I might actually sort of back up my good recent record. But no, I've dipped down to 299,000. So now, similar to Andy, I guess, top 100,000. Given the way the season's gone, that's probably the best I can hope, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I'm sitting on 224,000. It hasn't updated yet. I'm going to go down to about 250, I reckon. My worst ever finish, which was only 2 years ago, was 192,000. I've got to try and beat that. I think I've got a chance of beating that. I might get top 100,000, but that, after last season's heights, that's pretty miserable. That would be my second worst season of all time. How's it come to this? I don't know. It's I don't know. I think, John T, you're gonna rescue respectability, and us three are just going to be floundering a bit. That's the realistic expectations. Let's face it. You never know. The bench boost might change everything. This is why it's difficult, isn't it, with these chips? Because you look at it and go. Normally around this time we look at the Scout League, and Chris Rigdon, who I should mention, been in touch with this week. He's been playing FPL for 7 seasons. He's been a member for 5 seasons. He's a member this year. He's been on Fantasy Football Scout for a long, long time. And he was 8th in the world before tonight. And looking at the teams around him, he's got a good chance because he's got his chips in the bag. But the trouble is, those chips just make it so hard. I remember this time last season and the season before last, we spotted Tom Fenley and we spotted Simon March, didn't we, John T? And we said they're in with a good chance of winning it. And you could say that because you could look at their team, and you could look at the transfers, their trends that they had. They weren't taking points hits in terms of Simon March, and it just looked like they had. I think Simon had his wild card up his sleeve as well, and he used it wisely at the end. This season, though, you look at Chris and you think he's in a good position, but the chips, it's all bets are off, aren't they, because of that?
Yeah, totally. I mean, this is. A lot of people have said that these chips have slightly ruined it for the more experienced fantasy managers, but I completely disagree, because so many people have been tempted to use their chips. You know, they've had a bad game week and they think, oh, I'm going to use this chip now. But I think now it's absolute cast. I mean, it at least gives us hope. I mean, as we talked about, we're facing the prospect of having 30 players in one game week now, or triple captaining some player who's got 2 fixtures during the week. All of these things, and using a wildcard, saving our wildcard for that. You know, it's really, you know, these are really exciting, potentially exciting big moves that we can make. I mean, we could be making another 50, 60 points on those that have already wasted their wild card or used up their triple captain chips or their bench boost chips. I think this is potentially very exciting, but you know, we all know we can be disappointed. But I think we've got, I think this is good. So yeah, I mean, if those are top of the top of the fantasy football scout league, getting towards the top of the fantasy Premier League, have still got their chips in place. Wow, they're definitely gonna do well, I think.
I never thought I'd see the day where Jonty, an arch duller, would be so excited, and that gives us all hope, doesn't it? Really, it is an exciting prospect. I think it is, as I said earlier, a little bit bizarre, the whole thing, but yeah, it's an optimistic note to end the Scoutcast on, which after tonight's results and this game week in midweek, I'll settle for that. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, gentlemen. Thank you, Luke, for popping in again, and you, Andy, and Jonty for the questions. Yet again, excellent questions in the community. It's a good night for me.
And good night for me.
Good night from me.
Good night, Andy.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, all. See you next week.